Now at 9, a standoff at a Joplin hotel ends with the arrest of a Southeast Kansas man wanted for attempted murder. Plus, we look at the latest legal challenge for raising Missouri's minimum wage. And with concerns growing over water safety, a new smart filter is helping Americans keep their water clean and safe to drink.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Joplin Police SWAT team arrests a man wanted for attempted murder. This is KOAM News at 9. I'm Tanya Bach. The incident happened around 11:15 at the Home to Suites on Range Line. Officers determined the suspect, Joshua Ferguson of Cherokee County, was inside one of the rooms. Police attempted to contact Ferguson several times, but he refused to leave the room. The Joplin SWAT responded to the scene and eventually took Ferguson into custody. Ferguson is now in the Jasper County Jail awaiting extradition to Cherokee County. Now, Ferguson has been on the run since 2023 for allegedly trying to kill a family member by shooting at them several times. The victim was unharmed. Ferguson was arrested in Webb City in 2023 and made bond, but then violated conditions leading to a warrant. He'd been on the run until today. An early morning police chase from Webb City to Joplin reaches speeds of 100 miles per hour. Just before 3 a.m., a vehicle was reported stolen to the Webb City police. Officers spotted the vehicle and attempted a traffic stop. The car fled, taking police on an 8.8-mile pursuit until it crashed into a parking lot and the driver fled on foot. Webb City officers quickly took the male subject into custody. O'Reilly Auto Parts in Neosho is temporarily closed after an SUV drove into the building today. Neosho police say one customer who was at the counter was rushed to the hospital. There's no update on her condition. No one in the vehicle was injured. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us now with a first look at weather.
Yeah, and it turned out to be a great Thursday for us today. Temperatures, they really warmed up. 82 for a high, just 1 degree shy of the record set back in 2012. But look at our average high, 59 degrees, so well above where we should be for this time of the year. We're still upper 60s to near 70 degrees outside right now. We're not going to drop off much. Most of us about 58 to 60 later on tonight. We have high wind warnings, fire warnings, high wind watches all in effect for us tomorrow as our next storm system is going to start to head toward us. The main effect for us is going to be the winds. They're going to be gusting near 40 by morning, 40 to 50 by noon, and then 45 to about 55, maybe 60 as we get into the afternoon. On top of this, we're going to get some scattered thunderstorms as well. We're going to break it all down for you here in a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. Minimum wage is a topic under discussion in both Missouri and Kansas. And this week, the Missouri Supreme Court heard arguments for a legal challenge that would overturn a recently passed proposition. KOAM's Samantha Walker has more.
In November, Missouri voters passed Proposition A, which raised minimum wage in the state to $13.75 in January. It also guaranteed sick leave for hundreds of thousands of workers.
When anything is put on the ballot, it's supposed to be limited to just one subject. The minimum wage and paid sick leave are very different things.
Several business groups, including the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry, filed a legal challenge. Their primary argument is sick leave and minimum wage are separate issues. Having both on that proposition violates the single subject rule.
You couldn't separate those two, and that's really a problem, and we think in strong violation of our Constitution.
Those against this legal challenge say Prop A was supported by voters at the ballot box.
This isn't some looking out for the people legal issue. We want to keep the interest of the citizen in mind. This is a group of people who already have a belief structure, and even when that belief structure is challenged by the will of the people, they will use their levers of power to overturn the will of the people.
The legal challengers hope the state Supreme Court will overturn Prop A, despite a majority of Missourians voting for it.
We always say let business decide. Workplace policy decisions are really left between an employer and an employee and should not be mandated by the government.
The free market does not mean free of rules. It is we all decide what the rules are, and then we compete freely within that market. And so if the minimum wage goes up, Those are the rules.
Supporters of Prop A say this legal challenge is likely to only further frustrate voters.
We're spending so much money fighting for an issue that has been litigated and decided, and even decided by a direct vote. It would be funny if it weren't so depressing.
The Missouri Supreme Court is expected to release a ruling within the next month. Reporting, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Missouri state lawmakers also introduced a bill that would overturn the sick leave provisions and modify the minimum wage provisions. Well, as the fate of Missouri's minimum wage is left to the state Supreme Court, Kansas lawmakers are working to raise theirs. Currently, minimum wage in Kansas is $7.25 an hour. State House lawmakers introduced a bill proposing to raise minimum wage to $15. A similar bill in the Senate would raise minimum wage to $15, with further increases each year based off the cost of living. Both bills were referred to committee. The Carthage Crisis Center welcomed some brand new leadership today. Eileen Sherlock joined the team as the new executive director. Sherlock brings 15 years in program and business development to the position, as well as fundraising experience and leadership.
The community rallies around this community center, the Carthage Crisis Center, and it's just always been a blessing to just see the people that are pouring into this event and also the community that we live in. So, the needy and the people that are served here are definitely feeling the support.
The Carthage Crisis Center has provided transitional housing and support services to the homeless for more than 25 years. Now, Sherlock takes over for retiring director Jim Benson, who led the shelter for more than 9 years. Well, coming up, sex offenders at school. A Kansas senator wants the state to enact a law that would restrict sex offenders from being on school property. We take a look at new legislation in response to a sex offender attending an elementary school dance. But first, as spring break season heats up, many college students will try to cool down on sizzling beaches with ice-cold drinks. Health officials cite potential dangers and how to avoid negative outcomes. As more and more young adults flock to sandy shores for some spring break fun this season, health experts warn how it can be easy for some to overindulge in alcoholic drinks. If folks aren't careful, the list of physical and legal consequences could be long and costly. Fox News' Chris DeMeo takes a closer look at how to avoid harm.
As spring break season continues heating up, many college students of legal drinking age are trying to cool down from sizzling beaches, all with the help of some ice-cold adult beverages. And while it's advised to enjoy alcohol responsibly, occasions like spring break can lead to celebratory drinking.
At spring break, there's different occasions where you celebrate drinking that are just additional points to drink that wouldn't exist in your typical every day-to-day life.
According to Dr. Benjamin Montemayor of Texas A&M University, the sense of freedom helps some spring breakers feel like they can overindulge.
A lot of it resonates with this earn mentality, it's spring break, I have a week to kind of just forget about my responsibilities at home for a little bit.
But while Dr. Montemayor says that the average male college student has about 13 drinks a week, roughly 9 for women, those numbers can double or even triple during spring break.
20 to 30 for men, and then 16 to 24 for women.
Overdrinking can lead to alcohol poisoning, which can be deadly. Other risks include losing balance and having a serious fall. There's also a host of potential legal consequences, from DUIs to public intoxication.
You being passed out on the beach doesn't mean an officer's going to leave you alone.
Sticking to only one alcoholic drink an hour and alternating between water and alcohol is advised.
Don't drink if you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired.
Meanwhile, always have your transportation sorted out in advance.
Definitely Uber home if you're going to do something.
Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast. And later, as we enter a fire weather watch, precautions you can take to protect your family and home.
Well, another great day for us today. Temperatures 4 highs into lower 80s during the afternoon, which is pretty good. Great shot. This is our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex Tower Cam. Of course, we are looking downtown Joplin off toward the north and to the east. The winds starting to increase just a little bit. That's going to be the trend as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. Still upper 60s to near 70 degrees. It's Thursday, so let's check out our drought tracker. Got a little bit better this past week as that soil really absorbed all that rain that we saw last week. So we just have dry conditions, a little bit of a moderate drought in our eastern counties, but a mess on Friday, mainly due to wind. So we have wind warnings and fire watches and warnings due to the very high wind, and the humidity is really going to plummet. So by morning, we'll have winds gusting 35 miles per hour, pushing to 50 by noon. During the afternoon, they'll kind of range in that 45, 50, 55, maybe 60 mile per hour range. So super windy on your Friday. It's still breezy Saturday, but at least the winds will start to come down just a little bit. So this is kind of a trash can, neighbor's yard, or gone forever type of situation. These straight line winds, so strong, lasting so long. So the humidity is going to be up, or at least decent, through the morning, and then we have a dry line that pushes through, and that's going to trigger some thunderstorms as well. But look at the humidity behind that dry line. We dropped to 15 to 20%. That's why we had the big fire danger for us on Friday. A few clouds kind of skirting through, but here's our next storm system building. Western third of the country does produce severe weather tomorrow, mainly eastern Missouri into Illinois, but even our eastern counties, because they're going to get going right along that Kansas-Missouri state line. So we are going to have a low chance for severe weather in southwestern Missouri. We'll have to keep our eyes on that. Let's go through time. Any clouds we have now out of here. So if you want to get outside, check out the lunar eclipse. It's maxed out from 1:30 to about 2:30 in the morning. So we will have clear skies for that. Quick warm up, mid to upper 70s by noon. Once we get into the afternoon, here's 2 p.m. Here comes our dry line, and we'll start to get some hit and miss storms popping up right along that Kansas-Missouri state line and driving east. Some of these could be low grade severe, but they're going to get much more potent as they push into central Missouri, and that's where the bigger tornado threat is going to be. So we only have a window to get some strong to severe thunderstorms really from about 1 p.m. until 4 p.m., and then they're going to be gone. Then we'll start to cool down a bit as we head toward the weekend. 77 tomorrow, 60 on Saturday, 59 on Sunday. That is actually right where our temperatures are supposed to be. Back into the 70s on Monday and Tuesday.
So the chance for storms would just be on Friday or Friday and Saturday?
Just Friday.
Just Friday. All right. Not bad temperatures though.
No.
All right. Thanks, Doug. Well, as Doug said, the entire 4-state area is under high wind advisories through tomorrow night, and those high winds increase the risk of fires. Nicolette Zangara shows us some of the precautions you can take to decrease your risk of an out-of-control fire or damage from the high winds.
Grass and brush fires are keeping local firefighters busy, and conditions that fuel those fires are expected to get even worse tomorrow.
We're going to have fires. It may be in Ozark County or it may be in Polk County, but there's going to be fires. Be prepared.
The ongoing drought, dry and dormant plants, and extremely high winds are a dangerous combination.
We've had a couple of fire days so far this year that resulted in lots of fires, and the conditions were not even as bad as they're going to be tomorrow.
Meteorologists at the National Weather Service are preparing for numerous hazards. The fire danger is one thing, but the strong winds could reach severe criteria, even without the presence of storms.
So since we usually issue severe thunderstorm warnings, if thunderstorms are producing winds that high, that usually means that they could cause some sort of damage.
Nelson recommends taking a few minutes to clean up limbs that were loosened during previously windy days, and bring outdoor decorations and gardening equipment indoors. They can become projectiles.
There are a few preparations that you can take for your vehicle to avoid starting a fire. First and foremost, make sure your tires are fully inflated. The rim barely touching the ground can become a spark, which turns into a brush fire. And avoid parking on dry grass, because a hot tailpipe can be the ignition that a fire needs.
So we had a small roadside fire due to a piece of metal coming off a trailer, and it skidded down the road and set the grass on fire.
I've seen many fires in my career that started from someone flicking the cigarette butt out the window.
Any fires that form will be hard to keep up with. The International Association of Wildland Fire says a good rule of thumb is fires spread at about 10% of the sustained wind speed. With surface winds between 30 and 40 miles per hour, that's spreading fire at 3 to 8 miles per hour. This can bring the fire from far away to your doorstep.
A lot of the fires that we're seeing get into buildings are from small grass fires in the yard that burn up against the house. And it don't take much, as dry as it's been.
That was Nicolette Zangar reporting. Chief Sturtz says to try to limit dry vegetation near your house and be prepared for the many hazards possible tomorrow. Well, coming up, protecting your drinking water.
How smart is your water filter? New tech connects your agua to an app. I'm Eben Brown in Miami. I'll have that story straight ahead.
Little Theater.
Today, the U.S. Postal Service dedicated new freshwater fishing lure stamps at Wonders of Wildlife at Bass Pro's flagship store in Springfield. The Forever stamps feature 5 popular lure designs: a crankbait, an inline spinner, spoon, wake baits, and a popper. Each has a unique history with a significant role in the evolution of fishing. The EPA is rolling back environmental protections for clean water, so tech companies are stepping up with new products to make sure your H2O is clean. Fox's Eben Brown has more in this edition of our Fox on Tech series.
The Trump administration has canceled the plans to limit the discharge of so-called forever chemicals into drinking water, raising new concerns about quality and safety. But America's water delivery system also needs an overhaul, with infrastructure more than a century old in many places.
There's lead or other metals in that infrastructure that leach into the water. So then they throw in these chemicals that coat the pipes so that those chemicals don't leach into the water, but you're actually drinking those chemicals.
Now a growing number of Americans are turning to tech solutions to make their water safer, including the newly released AquaTrue Carafe. Think of it as a smart filter. It connects to your home or office Wi-Fi, and after filtering your water using 4-stage reverse osmosis to rid it of 84 different contaminants, it sends a report to an app on your phone about the purity of your water and the status of your filter.
Reverse osmosis is the most sophisticated technology that removes inorganic compounds from water. What are inorganic compounds? It means things like lead, fluoride, nitrates, arsenic.
And experts say the number of app-controlled water filters is expected to grow in the coming years as Americans learn more about what is in their H2O.
All of these items and many, many more are really impacting people's health over the long term.
The high-tech water filtration market was worth about $15 billion last year. That's expected to double in the coming decade. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
Well, up next, the Southeast Kansas Library brings history to life with a collection of old newspaper articles.
Printing service.
The McCune Osage Township Library is bringing history to life with a collection of old newspaper articles, some dating back to 1888. From gripping murder cases to an old method for curing rabies, these documents offer a unique look into the past. The collection showcases how reporting and public records have evolved over more than a century.
It makes me feel good. I want to preserve the history in this area, and a lot of the older generations, they're passing away now. So it's up to my generation to start getting the history.
Johnson says if the archive gains enough interest, more historical documents could be added in the future. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. How would you feel if a sex offender showed up at your child's school? There's currently no law preventing it in Kansas, but now a new bill in the Senate is hoping to change that. And candidates for mayor and city council answer questions from the Carthage community.
Theory.
You're watching the 4 States Most Watched News.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Parents in one Kansas school district are voicing their concerns after a sex offender showed up to an elementary school dance. Many were surprised to learn that Kansas law does not restrict sex offenders from being on school property. As Betsy Webster shows us, now a state senator is trying to change that.
The details of the school dance at this elementary school in Stillwell shocked Kansas State Senator Kelly Warren.
I had a physical, visceral reaction of horror and disgust, quite frankly, that our schools would allow this to happen and that Kansas didn't have any law in place to restrict it.
This isn't a hypothetical. The school district said the man was escorting his girlfriend's daughter to the dance here. Someone in attendance recognized the man from her neighborhood as a sex offender and saw him taking pictures. The school district says the principal gave him permission to attend. Current Kansas law requires sex offenders to register with the sheriff in person and frequently, but says nothing about where they can be. This bill would apply to any sex offender 18 or older who was convicted as an adult for crimes against a victim 18 or younger. It would make it a felony for them to be on school property or attend a school activity, even if it's held off campus.
I hope this provides some safety for kids in our schools, some peace of mind for parents. I wouldn't want my kids subjected to this, and I don't want your kids subjected to this either.
Unlike Kansas, both Missouri and Oklahoma have rules keeping sex offenders a certain distance from schools. Now, I detailed the lack of regulations in Kansas in my 2023 special report, Sex Offenders Next Door, and you can find a link to it on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, the Carthage Chamber of Commerce hosted a candidate forum for the upcoming mayor and city council elections. At least 50 community members showed up at the Carthage Water and Electric Community Room tonight. City leadership in Carthage has faced a tough year. Last spring, the council voted to fire City Administrator Greg Dagnon. In October, the council voted 6-2 to impeach the now former mayor, Dan Reif. And in November, Carthage Ward 5 residents voted to remove Tiffany Cossey from her seat on the council.
I know that there's been a lot of kind of drama going on with the city lately, and I'm kind of hoping that we get in a council that is not so dramatic and just keeps in mind that Carthage is a local town of working class people and just keep things normal and American.
Community members were encouraged to participate by submitting their questions for the candidates in advance. Well, there's a new Freeman Children's Miracle Network champion. 2, actually. The 2025 champions are brothers with Down syndrome. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more on their family and their journey.
Everything takes longer and is a little bit harder, but you celebrate it and it's much more sweeter.
Bryce Werdeman's 6th child, his son, named Rusk, was born in 2020, and at birth, he was diagnosed with Down syndrome.
After he was born, it was a big adjustment.
Rusk struggled with vision issues and other obstacles.
So Rusk had congenital cataracts when he was born. We did not know that until he was about 2 months old.
About 2 years later, Bryce and his wife Amanda flew to Serbia to adopt Sutter, who's 7 days younger than Rusk and also has Down syndrome.
The Lord really kind of opened our eyes and opened our hearts to the opportunities to be able to love children, and that every kid needs an advocate, right? And so it began us on a journey.
Their journey led them to Children's Miracle Network.
Pretty quick into it, we just started realizing there were so many needs that the boys had.
CMN helped the Werdemans get the resources both boys needed.
They've really helped out a lot with, especially has been providing them with and the assistance financially to be able to get safe beds for our boys.
The Family Relations Coordinator for Children's Miracle Network says there's a variety of medical expenses they help with.
We help with travel, so we can pay for their gas to appointments in Kansas City, appointments in Oklahoma, St. Louis. We did send these boys to Michigan, so that was very rewarding to be able to send them there.
And now, Rusk and Sutter are this year's Freeman Children's Miracle Network champions.
It means a great deal to us. We're very, very excited.
As champions, the brothers will serve as the face of children treated at the hospital and raise awareness about the ongoing need for donations to support the Children's Hospital. Reporting in Joplin, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
To receive assistance, families can reach out to the Family Relations Coordinator at Children's Miracle Network. Receiving help is need-based, not income-based. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later, Special Olympics for seniors.
Independence High School holds a special event for senior citizens. I'm Lonnie Walton in Independence. I'll have that story coming up.
Find amazing deals store-wide during the wall-to-wall.
Well, of course, big storm system moving in for us tomorrow. The winds are going to increase as we get into tomorrow morning. We have high wind warnings, we have fire warnings, so just be careful. Make sure you don't burn as we get into the daytime hours on Friday. Plus, the winds are really going to be moving, really increasing tonight. By morning, we'll have gusts 30 upwards to 40 miles per hour. By noon, we should be approaching 50 to 55. We may crank out a 60 or two as we get into the afternoon hours. So very strong winds, maybe even a little bit stronger than what we had early last week, which did cause some power outages. And then the winds finally start to come down a bit on Saturday. So trash cans, wind forecast, at least the neighbor's yard, gone forever. So make sure you strap anything down out on the back porch or whatever as the winds start to pick up. Now, our humidity not bad through the morning. Here's the problem. This is why we got the fire danger. Here's a dry line. Warm, moist air, warm, dry air. Watch this line punch through into the early afternoon. Humidity drops to about 15 or 20%. So even if we get a few thunderstorms out there, if we get some lightning strikes, that could be bad news as well. We got some clouds kind of working through. I think these will clear out just in time for the eclipse later on tonight. Here's our big storm system. Bigger severe threat tomorrow is going to be mainly east, kind of nocturnal tornado outbreak, eastern Missouri into parts of Illinois. For our neck of the woods, the storms are going to fire right along that Kansas-Missouri state line. So we could get some low-grade severe thunderstorms in southwestern Missouri, mainly from 1 p.m. until 4 p.m., and then any threat will be out of here. By morning, starting near 60, mid to upper 70s by noon. Here comes that dry line. See the clouds popping up? Watch the thunderstorms. Try to get going. Quickly push southwestern Missouri, then gone. Severe weather continues through central Missouri, pushes into eastern Missouri. As we get into Saturday morning, temperatures will drop back near 50, not near as warm on Saturday afternoon. We're going to have a lot of clouds, could get a few sprinkles, but still, I think high temps near 60 degrees. Day planner on your Friday, 63 in the morning, 76 by noon, high temp 77 degrees. Let's go into the weekend. 60 Saturday, some sprinkles late, 59 Sunday. I know that's cooler, but that is right where we should be for this time of the year. All right, so you can go outside tonight if you want to wake up. So about 1:30, we'll get a total lunar eclipse. This means the Earth is in between the sun and the moon, so the moon rotates through the Earth's shadow, and you get that big red moon, and you'll be able to see the line kind of march right across it. So kind of cool if you want to check it out later on tonight. I'm going to try to go to bed. 77 tomorrow, 60 on Saturday, 59 Sunday, back into the 70s on Monday and Tuesday.
I know, I want to go to sleep too.
I've seen
but
them many times.
They're neat, and
yeah.
It's not cloudy tonight, so it should be great.
I know, it'll be okay.
Yeah, all right, thanks, Doug. Well, coming up in sports, Pittsburgh State hires a new volleyball head coach, plus a Neosho Wildcat signs to play college football. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
Nominate your on Fox.
It's day 2 of high school basketball state tournament play in Kansas, and 3 more of our local teams are in action this afternoon and early this evening. Let's begin with Galena boys basketball. The Bulldogs win their quarterfinal matchup 55-48 over Bishop Ward. They remain undefeated, improve their record to 23-0 on the season, and this victory sends them to the Final Four. That semifinal matchup will be played tomorrow at 4 against Heston. Meanwhile, Labette County girls basketball loses a tight one, 56-51 to Buhler in the quarterfinals of the 4A state tournament. That's over in Salina. Lady Grizzlies finished the season with a record of 18-5. And then in the Class 2A state tournament in Manhattan, Colgan girls basketball wins its quarterfinal game. This one came down to the wire. Lady Panthers pull it out, 41-37. Jakayla Davis leads the way with 17 points, and Colgan will play in its semifinal game tomorrow night at 8 against Doniphan West. Well, Pitt State women's basketball is coming off the high of winning the MIAA tournament last weekend, but now the Gorillas shift their focus to the NCAA tournament, where they host a regional beginning tomorrow evening against Harding.
We're super excited to get another matchup with them because obviously we lost to them first round last year. So we've kind of just been, we feel really good about getting another shot at them. And, you know, they got the same group back, kind of like we do, very similar to how they were last year. So we're excited to see them again.
Like, there are no easy opponents at this point in the year. We told them that last week. We told them that again this week. We haven't even really had to say it. But I think to be familiar with a team is helpful.
Well, Pitt State's first game is against 8-seed Harding tomorrow at 5. And as you heard Corinna Gerber mention, that's who knocked the Gorillas out of the NCAA tournament last year. That game went into overtime. PSU has a great opportunity to exact its revenge tomorrow night. Well, Pittsburgh State Volleyball has a new head coach just over 48 hours after Jen Gomez announces her resignation from that same position. Megan Bessiker is the new leader for the Gorilla Volleyball program. She's been the head coach at Barton Community College for the past 2 seasons. While there, she's helped lead the Cougars to back-to-back Kansas Jayhawk Conference Championships. Bessiker has coaching experience beyond those 2 years at Barton. Prior to that, she spent 1 season as an assistant at both Florida Southwestern and Emporia State, and also was the head coach for a couple of years at Liberal High School in Kansas. And over in Missouri, one of our local high school football players puts pen to paper this afternoon to play in college. This afternoon, Neosho High School senior Nathan Rogers signs his letter of intent to continue his academic and football careers at Missouri Valley College. That's located in Marshall, Missouri, about 3.5 hours away, and the future Viking is excited to represent Neosho at the next level.
Well, I just love the culture up there. The coaches are great. I love talking to Coach Goulet whenever I went on my visit. Overall, they just gave me a great opportunity to grow and develop as a person and as a player. I will be doing social science education, hopefully to become a history teacher and then a football coach.
That's it for sports. We're back right after this.
Independence High School teams up with Special Olympics Kansas to host the school's first Special Olympics for seniors. KOAM's Lonnie Walton stopped by to see what all the excitement was about.
This was the most active.
Wanda Clifford is a senior citizen participating in the Independence High School's first ever Special Olympics. She says she's enjoying the change.
I think it really would be good for everybody. It helps seniors, that's for sure, be more active.
Seniors aren't the only ones being active during this event, according to Regional Director of Special Olympics Kansas, Olivia Ryan. She says so are high school students who get to exercise their social skills with these various activities.
We have everything from wheelchair races to, we have a tattoo parlor. That's been like popping. We have cornhole, we have bingo.
And according to Ryan, all activities have a low impact, but with a big emotional impact on these seniors. Independence Functional Life Coach Jessica Childish says seniors are having a blast.
I love making people happy and I love bringing joy to them, and hey, that tattoo parlor has been like a hit.
And the citizen says it's not only a way to get a lot of exercise, but they also had a lot of fun.
It was nice to get out and do something activity-wise.
It was fun. Everything. Wanted to be invited to dance, and this is one of those activities where they get the opportunity to be right there in it, doing all of the activities, making the relationships themselves, just like my friend Lynn here, that's making all sorts of friends today, right?
And for all their hard work, they got the chance to win medals and take pictures with local first responders. Reporting at Independence, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Now, Ryan says one of the biggest challenges was making sure all activities were suitable to each participant's needs. However, she said the students did excellent in navigating the event. Well, Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black gets renewed for season 2, and Netflix remakes Stephen King's Cujo. Those stories and more coming up in Hollywood Nation. Jon Hamm steals from the rich, and a 1980s horror story gets a remake. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has more on this and more in the Hollywood Nation.
I gotta deliver some bad news. You're fired.
What?
Hamm steals, Cujo reboots, and Perry renews in the Hollywood Nation.
I know you want to get out of this life.
Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black has been renewed for season 2. The renewal comes nearly a week after the show's season 1 part 2 release March 6th. The drama centers on a stripper entangled with a wealthy family, running a cosmetic empire and an underground trafficking ring.
Cujo!
Speaking of Netflix, the streamer is developing a remake of Stephen King's Cujo. King wrote the horror story in 1981, and it was adapted into a 1983 film of the same name. The tale centers on a friendly Saint Bernard that becomes a murderous beast after being infected with rabies from a bat bite.
If you get caught, there will be penalties.
Jon Hamm goes to extreme lengths to make ends meet in today's First Looks. Apple TV Plus released the trailer for the crime drama Your Friends and Neighbors. Hamm executive produced and stars as a hedge fund manager who, after losing his job, resorts to stealing from his neighbors' homes, only to discover their dangerous secrets. The show, which has already been renewed for a second season, premieres April 11th. Disney dropped the trailer for the live-action version of Lilo and Stitch. The reimagining of the 2002 animated adventure features newcomer Maya Kealoha as Lilo, the young girl who forms a special bond with the genetically engineered dog-like alien. The film arrives in theaters May 23rd. No. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a baby polar bear hanging out with his mama at a zoo in Germany. Aw, have a great night and an even better tomorrow.